So, just finished Roadblock, Walking Dead, End of the Line. And there's only one thing that needs to be said. As a wise man once said that I will more than likely run into on WrestleMania weekend, what just happened? Exactly. Shout out. Welcome to another edition of a WWE pay-per-view podcast. This one on Roadblock, End of the Line. And my name is Suro, and joining me, as always, we have the normal Popcaster panel with a new addition. We'll get to that momentarily. First off, we have Ashley.
Yeah, the best bit of the show.
We have Scott.
What's up? I'm from one of the tiniest states in the country right now. Delaware.
Oh, nice. And last but
God,
certainly
you're not
not...
in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
I drove by Pittsburgh.
Well, if there would have been a different finish, you may not have made it out of the building if you would have been anywhere near it, so...
I said I drove by Pittsburgh and then drove through it.
I know.
Either way, we do have someone else joining our panel. I don't know if he's going to be a regular or if he's going to be a semi-regular or if he's just going to pop on whenever he can. And that is welcoming another member of the elite of the Halloween Horror Nights podcast to our wrestling panel, and that is Miller.
What's up?
So, Miller, this is your first wrestling podcast.
Yep.
We run a little bit differently than we do the Horror Nights podcast.
I kind of figured.
No holds barred.
Yeah, no holds barred. The only person that's not going to curse on the show is me. So,
Which is completely fucking obnoxious, if you ask me.
can't say anything.
Hey, we do one thing on here that the WWE never does.
Bleep. Wait, oh, yeah, they do bleep.
God. Yes, they did.
Twice. And they're both for shit.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Give you a clean finish.
Nope. Bullshit. Bullshit to that as well. Bullshit. Kevin was right. Bullshit.
So we're going to have a wild show tonight. This is the last pay-per-view of 2016 we'll be covering here on the Popcast Network. And then we've got a lot of stuff. Obviously, just announced was the two-night United Kingdom Championship Tournament, and Ashley and myself are going to be covering that. And Wrestle Kingdom.
It's not live. But
Not necessarily live, but we are going to be covering it.
Because by God, Trout and Tyler Bate is God, and Joseph Connors is God, and Wolfgang is God, and the other ones I need to do more research. Pete Dunne is God.
So we have now become the start on the road to the Royal Rumble as of tomorrow.
Yes.
We just got through the roadblock.
Yeah, no lie, man. Seven? Ashley, what did you say? 7 weeks till the Rumble?
That's too long.
The road to the Rumble will not start until January the 2nd.
After the holiday
Until
tour.
Goldberg shows up.
In Tampa,
Oh, yes,
Florida.
the Tampa Raw, yes.
And that's when shit will be.
Well, I mean, officially, once the official road will start on the 2nd, but unofficially, everything should start to formulate a plan as of tomorrow night's Raw.
Yeah, they called it End of the Line, but they kept going with a bunch of the storylines.
Yeah.
Every single storyline bar one is going to continue.
Exactly.
One that didn't finished in such a way that it's like there's actually legit reason for this to fucking continue.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Stopping it.
So before we get started, we're going to do this a little bit differently tonight. So Scott has to be up early tomorrow, so he's not going to be able to be around for the normal 2-3 hours we usually run our podcast for.
Hell no. No,
So-
not tonight. Even though I do love it, it's fun, but I can't do that tonight. It's just. Ugh.
That's the reason why we're doing things a little bit differently for your benefit tonight. Now, we are
Woo-hoo.
going... Yeah, exactly. Welcome, Tim, in the chat. We are going to be doing the normal stuff that Ashley and I do, going through the matches and our thoughts on the matches in more depth. Miller's going to get his thoughts on the matches in more depth. But what we're going to do here, we're going to start with Scott, and we're going to have Scott give his thoughts on the entire show so he can get some rest and come back for tomorrow's Raw show.
Yes. Exactly.
So,
And hopefully
here's
I'll
my-
be driving during that time and I can do some dashboard professionals.
Yes,
That's what I
indeed.
do.
Yes, you do.
I'm in
my-
bed, actually, so that's an interesting one.
Interesting. So here's my question to you. Did you see the pre-show?
No,
Yes.
I did not.
Okay, so I don't need your thoughts on the pre-show match.
No, but I did see the outcome of it because they replayed some of it during the show. So,
Right.
There were two obvious reasons why I had to watch the pre-show.
Lana.
No, fuck that. She's tainted goods now. Plus, the creative doesn't even watch Banshee. No, Sam Roberts was on,
Exactly.
and Renee.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as they announced during the pay-per-view that Raw Talk is on afterwards, hosted by the great Charlie Caruso, I was immediately, I don't give a fuck anymore. Spoilers, she doesn't even know her own fucking name. She has to read it off a script. Owen can attest.
Yeah, it's true. It's sad, but
Yep.
it's true.
So yeah, it's whatever. You
Go
can
ahead,
see.
Scott.
You could have seen the Rusev line, Rusev versus Cass, not end right. So
I mean, yeah,
Probably.
you're running with like, what did they start at? Like 13 minutes before the actual show started. You knew it wasn't going to be like an actual like drawn out match.
no.
Right.
And with it, and it would have been, and like it was kind of written on the wall that you could see that Lana was going to interfere somehow. That kind of like how she got Enzo to come over to the hotel and all that. So, there was going to be some fuckery going on.
Well,
Not literally.
No, not PG. The thing is, before we get started with the first match on the show, Scott, the tag team titles being on the line, comments from Tim in chat said it was a crap show, crap ending. It wasn't like a pay-per-view. It was more like just a Raw.
That's exactly right. He's exactly right.
It did feel
I
like
disagree.
a Raw. It did feel like a Raw, though. A special edition of Raw that had a 30-minute Iron Woman match, but still, it felt like a Raw.
It's like next week's NFL. It's all happening a day early because of the.
Actually, no, it's not. There's a lot of games on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 2 or 3, isn't there?
No, there's
Majority of the
Well,
Sunday
slate.
games are being played Saturday.
There are a few.
a few.
I had-
It's the schedule's split up because of Christmas. Not every team
They
is
just have
playing.
all the matches on Christmas Day because they want to piss off the NBA by stealing their thunder.
True.
From what I can tell, most of them are. The majority of them are Saturday night. I think there's 2 on the Sunday and then 1 on the Monday. Basically, they're just being cheap as NFL because
No,
They
NFL's
realize they
gotten
can't
cheaper over the years anyway.
can't compete. They can't compete with WWE on Boxing Day. Yeah.
Unless you're my buddy Brian, he always watches Sunday night game while watching frickin' the pay-per-view at the same time.
I will
He's
have
like-
to do that for the next 2 pay-per-views.
And you don't watch football anyway, so
No, it's called It's Award Season, and just found out today that the Screen Actors Guild Awards falls on the same night as the Royal Rumble.
Wow.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I don't like
of
that
all
at
the
all.
nights.
We-
Of all
nice
the
to have known you.
nights.
And the BAFTAs take place the same night as the Elimination Chamber.
Emanating from Phoenix, Arizona.
So I will be watching. I will be watching both, and then we will do the podcast probably about 11:30, so I can make sure I get everything done in time.
He'll be on a slight delay.
Not by much, but a little bit. So Scott, we'll start with your thoughts, and what we'll do here. Anybody wants to chime in on their thoughts on what Scott's saying? That works great. But everybody keep their official comments for their own line of talk for when we discuss the rest of the show.
For their own
So-
promos.
Yeah, pretty much. So Scott,
Let me
what do
take
you
the spotlight, bastards.
take the spotlight? The opening match, doing something that I didn't think they would do that Ashley called, because Ashley knows how to call things nowadays, and that is doing a storyline during a tribute to the Troops show. Yeah.
Right?
Which gave Sheamus and Cesaro another shot at the WWE Tag Team Championships against the New Day and the crown, the record that they broke from Demolition on Raw Monday night. So, your thoughts on the tag team title match?
Well, first I want to say the beginning video package for the show had a lot of reminiscence of the old pay-per-view. Old pay-per-view structures.
Mhm.
Like I'm talking about when they had the actual sets. You know, like the old Judgment Day or Backlash with the swinging hook, Armageddon with like tanks and all sorts of crap out. The vibe of the beginning video package, you know, it set the tone obviously for the whole show, but it just had that vibe of like old school for some odd reason. I don't know why. It was a different approach, obviously, but as far as the match goes, I didn't catch this past week's Raw, SmackDown, or Tribute to the Troops, so it kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh, okay, so Sheamus and Cesaro have another opportunity. This is going to go well. I think the writing on the wall was written when Cesaro and Sheamus teamed up that they were going to win the titles eventually. And
Right.
then the idea of, New Day eclipsing the record was, I mean, we talked about that 2 weeks ago, that they're going to eclipse the record and then probably drop the titles at Roadblock.
Yep.
And I think you said it was going to be with Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah, I think Ashley and I both said that, actually.
Yeah. So the match overall was actually pretty darn good, I thought. A lot of like what the fucks? Like, whoa, really? Like, kind of. And I've been seeing this more and more lately of kind of like how Randy Orton took the, what did he took the gore from Rhino at the pay-per-view last, which I can't remember what it was, to in order to get the win, with Woods getting the freaking brogue kick, or not, yeah, the brogue kick, and then trying to pick up the win that way. Didn't really work. And then the false tag, that was actually pretty cool, I thought.
Definitely.
It worked really well. Because it tricked a lot of the audience too. But overall, I thought it was a pretty solid match, and the funny antics at the end with Cesaro and Sheamus, getting the cheers and the boos, and then Cesaro finally stealing one of the titles from Sheamus. It was pretty good. It was a good match. I think. I don't know what's next for New Day. Are they going to continue to chase and maybe try to get it back by WrestleMania? I don't know. I don't think they're going to become 3-time champs. But they make so much damn money. I mean, it would be stupid not to.
Right. The thing, you don't want to. There's more money for the most part in having the babyface chase the heel champion.
Oh yeah, even though that team's won so much money made so much money as it is. I mean,
Right. The thing is, though, like turning them at this point would make them fresh, but the problem is it would make a nice little dent in their merch money.
yeah,
And that's the reason they're not going to split them up right away. And a lot of people were thinking that they were going to split them up after they drop the titles. They're going to keep that act together as long as it's making money.
oh exactly. I mean, right now I think it's the longest act that's been together on WWE programming.
I think continuously, yes.
Yeah, for a long time. So yeah, overall decent match.
All
It's
right.
really good.
Okay, Scott, we move on to the 10-minute challenge match. Sami Zayn taking on Braun Strowman.
I was thinking throughout this whole match, I was like, this is the perfect setup because it's as long as they tell the story right, it's gonna make people believe in Sami. But if they screw it up, it's just gonna destroy what's about to happen. And I think they told it pretty darn well. They could have done the minute and a half it took from Mick Foley finally came out, and the minute and a half it took on the outside could have been way shorter because
Right.
it kind of. I got it and what they were trying to do. Sammy's not a quitter. He's never gonna quit. He's just gonna keep going and going. Going into it, I thought I didn't think he was. I didn't think they were gonna make him. I thought they were gonna have him lose at the last second,
Right.
or just get destroyed. He got destroyed, but he still somehow made it through it. But I think it was just the whole minute and a half that happened on the outside just was terrible. It kind of ruined the luster of the match. But I still think he's the biggest bet for the Royal Rumble.
And so we've been saying this for over a year now, and I think the one thing without going into what I'm going to say a little bit later, I think that their timing was about a couple of seconds off because
Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah, they were rushing because when Sami hit the haluva kick, he looks like he was setting up for it again, and the second one probably would have dropped Strowman. He would have went for the cover, and then the time would have expired before he got a pin.
Yeah, I think it just took too long on outside the ring when Mick Foley came out, longer than what was originally planned. So, but it played into it pretty well, and I think people are going to start in quote believing in Sami, and then Sami's going to get on this run for these next 6-7 weeks on how the Royal Rumble's coming, and he's going to win it. I don't think he's going to say it, but he's going to.
No.
He wants to be number one or number two, whatever, and then go through it all.
Which is exactly what Ashley and I both said.
It all fits the plan so perfectly now.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Keep in mind, 10 years of Rumble winners. Who has come out of the first, and that was Orton, like
Mysterio did it.
I'm saying in the last decade.
That was last decade. He did it in what? 2007?
Yeah, 2006.
6? Oh, well.
I'm talking about 2007 to 2016. The last 10.
Right.
If you look over the last 10 years, even the last 11 have been, within the first 10 of them. Even if you count the 40, we haven't had somebody go a long way for, as I say, Orton's was, I think 09, was it?
Yeah,
I think so.
So it's been 8, as of next month, it'll be 8 years since we had somebody that low down win the Rumble. We're over those sort of stories. And if
there's only been
the Vin Sammy thing,
see,
right.
the thing about it is, is obviously you're trying to eliminate the history books when it comes down to it. And obviously the name to be eliminated from the history books is Chris Benoit. We mentioned that before. We said this before.
Bullshit.
Obviously, the match with Daniel Bryan, Batista, and Triple H was what eliminated Benoit, Triple H, and Michaels. And with Sami Zayn going from number 1, winning the Royal Rumble, that's going to eliminate Benoit's record from 2004.
Yeah, because Benoit was the longest. He was in the Rumble for the longest time, wasn't he? One of the longest?
Yeah, he's definitely one of the longest. It was an hour and 1 minute and 35 seconds.
He's also the last number 1.
He is the last number 1 because Mysterio was 2.
Oh, was Mysterio 2?
Mysterio was 2.
Triple H was number 1.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How many number 1 winners have we had? We've had 3? Shawn Michaels did it.
Yep.
Yeah, Shawn and Chris. That's
Triple H. I thought Triple H. No.
Triple H never won from number 1.
So it's Shawn and Chris. So
and
yeah.
Eliminate Benoit from the record books 100%, just like they're doing with Demolition, just like they did with AJ Lee, just like they did with CM Punk. Basically, the whole situation is they're going to make that story Sami Zayn's so they can promote that they had an underdog that no one believed in go all the way from the beginning of the Royal Rumble all the way to the end and win the world title at WrestleMania. It is the perfect story.
Who's from Canada?
Right.
Exactly. Yes, another Canadian go bell to bell at the Royal Rumble. It writes itself. It just does.
My biggest question is, they should have had him lose then, because then it would have probably made people believe in him more. Like, especially if when they start the story of leading up to the Royal Rumble, Zayn going in number 1, and he's going to win it all.
Consistency with this match.
Right.
They never specified that if Braun didn't win after the 10 minutes, that Sami had won. To me, Sami didn't win because he didn't win.
No.
Braun obviously didn't win because the 10-minute time limit went up. In essence, it should be a draw. Hence, Sami wins.
For some reason.
Like, okay, that's a giant asterisk.
Yeah, that's a giant asterisk.
I want to turn it into a small French cartoon character.
Pepe Le Pew?
So, thoughts moving on, Scott, for Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho.
This was actually an interesting match. I thought it was really, it wasn't great and all, but it was actually, it played in part to what was going to happen at the end of the show. But it was a decent match. I mean, nothing really special came out of it, except that, Seth won. I mean, Owens tried to come out and try to apologize, which seemed like the overall story of the night. Owens trying to apologize to Chris and just kept on failing and failing and failing.
Right.
So, I mean, it was kind of like a placeholder for what was going to happen later.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
But Seth Rollins did go through Chris Jericho, so he's one chapter down in his book to Triple H.
That's correct. We move on to our next match. Cruiserweight title on the line. Rich Swann defending against TJP and D. Brian Kendrick.
Kendrick looked like he took a bad shot to the face one time. I couldn't tell if it was just he was just, doing what he normally does, or if he really got clocked in the face. I think it was by a knee or something, or a leg from Rich Swann. But
yeah,
I think it was a knee.
I put this in my notes, actually, Scott. Swann went for what it looked like to be going for a leapfrog, and he ended up kneeing him right in the face. And then Kendrick basically went to the outside pretty much quickly after that.
Yeah. I was like, ooh. But yeah, that's pretty much it of that match. Oh, and then TJ Perkins entrance video, he doesn't have the title on his shoulder anymore. I noticed that. Because I was paying attention.
That's for you, Ashley. That's the first thing he mentioned when we were talking off camera. Perkins doesn't have the belt anymore.
That was one of the only things I marked. That was what I marked the fuck out for. It's like how they finally noticed the inconsistency.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we didn't put the belt on TJ. Why does he still have it on his entrance video or ramp thingy?
Close enough.
Yeah.
So we get to our semi-main event of the evening, 30-minute Iron Woman match. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte with the women's title on the line.
This, if the shit didn't play out like it was going to with the Owens versus Reigns match, this could easily been another main event. Easily. By far the best of the two main events, in my opinion. This crowd wasn't as loud as you think they were. I think they were just enthralled in the moment. Because, not a lot of the typical Raw fans that go to the shows and stuff, unless they're smarks, watched Sasha's and Bayley's Iron Man match back in NXT.
Yeah, keep in mind, the fans weren't that invested back in '92.
I wasn't even saying 92.
Or not even not 92. What was it? 96?
Yeah.
Mania.
96.
No. I wasn't even saying that one either. I said NXT. The Sasha Bayley. Oh, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it took place last year.
Well, keep in mind what falls like 700 people push.
That's pushing it, but yeah.
14,000. Well, if full capacity 14,000, but I'm guessing there was probably about 10 in there. But still, also the people that go to NXT want to watch wrestling. The people that go to WWE want to see Cena and Roman, favorites. They don't actually go really for the wrestling. They just go because it's probably, for some of them, it's probably cheaper to buy the fucking merch from the live event to actually go to and get it shipped to them because they probably can't afford to get free shipping.
Some good deals going on though from the shop.
Actually go to the arenas without a ticket. Just get into just buy the WWE merch and just fucking walk out.
Well, actually, they have a merchandise trailer that's right outside the venue for all their live shows. You could just buy something there and then just leave.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe get a view of a wrestler or two walking in and out of the building.
You can do that at Halloween Horror Nights. What are you talking about?
Right. So where was the last Iron Man match between women? What were you saying?
5 months. 5 months ago, was it?
No, I know that.
No,
that's the NXT one. I'm saying
this year when Sasha made the switch, so something like 16, 17 months. In terms of Iron Man match on WWE pay-per-view, I would would it be like Bragging Rights 2011?
Wow, that's a good question. That sounds about right.
Cena and Orton in that no DQ one that was made. The reason why that was a classic is because it was no DQ. So you could
it was Cena and Orton was the last one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just talking about the women. Was like what did you say? It was 96, 90, or 97?
Well, no. The only other women's one was what?
Bayley,
August or September.
Bayley versus Sasha.
It was October.
Yeah, last year. But
yeah.
In terms of, that's the thing. Because of the title of what they're calling it, you have to compare this to other Iron Man matches.
Oh yeah.
Because they can't call it Iron Woman matches because WWE's sexist.
Right. Well, they're trying to get away from the sexist part of it. That's why they
Yeah,
switched it from Divas to the women's
yeah,
championship.
but I wouldn't call it an Iron Man match.
Now
Especially because I associate more man with the bloody super triathlons that they do.
see, Ashley, before Bailey and Sasha last year, the last 30-minute Iron Man match they had was a Raw in October in Dallas with Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels.
So that was 06.
2005.
05.
And then the other Iron Man matches have been at least an hour.
Yeah, including the one on SmackDown. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Brock and Angle was an hour.
That was an amazing one.
Triple H and Rock was an hour. And of course, Brett and Shawn was an hour.
How many total Iron Man matches have there been?
11.
I swore on the show they said that there was a women's one in '97.
No.
They didn't care about anybody in the
first one
division
was
in
97.
97 for that.
The very first one was 97.
Oh, the
96.
first one. Oh, okay. 96.
Oh,
Okay, that's where I'm getting the
96.
96 or 97 from. My bad.
WrestleMania
Wasn't
12.
even a women's title in 97, I think.
No?
There's something in the trash on WCW.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
it was.
They threw it in the trash. Yeah, exactly.
So, at about the 10-minute mark, well, 20-minute, however you want to say it, counting down the 10-minute mark, it was still 0-0. And in my mind, I'm like, they're going to go to the last minute and there's only going to be one fall. And
That
that's
would've
who's
made
going to win it.
sense.
I was like, this is going to be amazing. And then quickly, in the last 3 minutes, it's 2-1, Sasha's up. I'm like, okay, they're going to tie now. Because I had a feeling going into this match that Charlotte was going to retain. She was going to be the one on top.
Right.
I mean, obviously, the money is with Charlotte. Actually, with Sasha, I think the money's with Sasha, but Charlotte just has that presence. Like, she's tall. Like, she's huge. She's what, almost like
but does she
6
deserve
foot?
a fucking break?
She needs some
No.
time off, is what Ashley's trying to say. And I understand where he's coming from completely.
Yeah.
Who, Charlotte or
She's
Sasha?
been
Yeah.
working not
Both, really.
Yeah.
stop at the top of that division, where Team PCB or her for 18 months now.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
And it's been mainly her and Sasha.
reign now. People are sick because we get it. She's fucking related to Nature Boy. You know, that was actually that's actually the one negative thing about her now being called Charlotte Flair, because she has to now. She's so ashamed to be a Flair. You know, she snubbed her fucking father 2 weeks ago. Yet her graphics now say Charlotte Flair.
Maybe it's just to be cocky.
No,
She wants to make her own name, obviously, but I don't think it has to do with that.
Competent.
Yeah, but you can't really do that when the announcers have to mention like every 2 seconds about how she's related to Nature Boy.
Keep in mind as well, this is the year that Buddy Paige brought up her dead brother.
Well, yeah.
We know that WWE Creative does not give a shit about the women of this division. How? They fired the guy that actually supported them.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Let him go. Same thing.
Right. But so they tied at the end, and it was kind of like, okay, because this has to be the first Iron Man that's ever tied at the end. So they went into OT, I guess.
I mean, we've had two. We've had this. This is the only one of recent memory that it's had an overtime. The last one that had an overtime was Benoit and Angle at Backlash in 2001.
Which, so Sasha gets a bad. Her nose got shattered because oh my god, she had blood running down her cheeks. She had it all over her hands because she kept on biting her fist while in
as soon as that happened, I thought. As soon as that happened, I thought, is Vince going to actually? Is he going to change the title just because she got injured?
Possibly. She could have. They could have been wrote that Sasha was supposed to win it, and then they flipped the script right then and there.
Works. He's a fucking cunt.
And as soon as the blood started to pour in the match, it was basically like, we got to go home like now. We have to end this match immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again when I get a chance and see if the ref goes up to Charlotte and says something, or Sasha. But
He's constantly
pretty much
talking to them when the holds on, because I watched it back a little bit ago.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why these WWE referees have an earpiece, because backstage they're telling them what the hell to do.
Exactly.
That's why I don't think the ref, more. If we want to go in depth with it, the ref didn't even know that he was supposed to hit 3 when Brock beat Undertaker. He got told that right before that F5, or right at that time when he was counting.
That's what happens sometimes.
But it makes it completely, they could be sitting backstage, Vince, Triple H, or whatever, listening to the crowd, listening to how everything's going, watching the match, and then, okay, that one's going to win.
Oh, yeah, we've changed finishes on the fly before because somebody was more over than what we had planned in the first place. It's more organic that way.
Oh, yeah. You satisfy the fans. So, which would be interesting if they actually did flip the script because of Sasha's nose just pouring her blood all over that mat. Yes, Tops make cards of that mat with Sasha's blood on it. Wow, that sounded totally pervish.
They're not going to draw attention to it. On top of the fact that they're probably going to show the replay tomorrow, stills on Raw in black and white.
It'd be hard, but I think with they'll be doing stills, obviously, but yeah, the only times you really saw her blood was when the camera was standing on the corner pointing down towards them. And then once the 1, 2, 3 was done, you really didn't see Sasha after that until she was walking back.
Scott, I know it's your time, but I definitely want to mention this before I forget. Ashley, do you want to bring up the guy's face during this match? WWE has this new thing about doing live crowd reactions after most big spots now.
All the time.
It absolutely drives Ashley insane when this happens.
Well, I think I know the guy that you're gonna say.
Yeah, it's going to be a meme now if it isn't already. I guarantee you it will be.
They did a bunch of the crowd reactions during a Swans match. Which
was
really awkward.
There was one where the lady had her hand down and she looked like it was after a big spot that looked like it was supposed to be something really dramatic, and she looked like she was trying to stifle laughter. that came off horribly. But I think Ashley is having technical issues right now if he's not talking. So let's move on. You want to move on to the main event real quick, Scott?
Yeah.
Main event, Universal Championship on the line. Kevin Owens defending against Roman Reigns. And your thoughts?
I thought it was a pretty decent match. Yeah, when you kind of look back and you start talking about all the matches and stuff, it does seem like a glorified Raw. But it seems like most of these, B pay-per-views are glorified, shows, just on a, in quote, bigger stage. But this match was paced really slowly.
Right.
I mean, there was 35 minutes left till the 11 o'clock hour. Like, it was like, good God, this is gonna be a long ass match. When in reality, it was. It was terrible. I want to say it was just terrible for that it took so long. But I think a lot of people have spoke up, because there's been a few pay-per-views that have been ending like really short, especially on the SmackDown side. But I mean, obviously Raw has more talent. But this show, I mean, I think the woman should have ended it. Probably would have had a lot more energy than what it showed. But it was a pretty good match. The spot with what the hell was that? When Owens flipped right, I'm not like freaking wrestling literate as much as you are.
I'm not either.
But when Owens, kind of flip rotated Roman Reigns, that was a thing of beauty. I was shocked
I know what you're talking about. Off the top, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Superplex, like the cradle suplex off the top. Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised what the match was obviously a setup for what was going to happen at the end. With Chris Jericho coming out, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And then he code breakers freaking Owens, which purposely makes Reigns lose the match. I mean, even if Jericho would have did it to Reigns, yeah, Owens would have lost the match, but he still would have retained his title.
Exactly. That's
so
genius.
By doing it, but doing it to Owens makes it even crazier. It adds a twist to the storyline that, yeah, we set this all up, to make Reigns lose. Or I don't know. I mean, hopefully some answers get, spoken tomorrow.
He definitely didn't lose he lost the battle, but he definitely didn't lose the war because he was one of the last men standing to go home for the end of the show.
Yes. I still think we're pointing to a Roman, or not Roman, but KO versus Jericho.
Oh yeah.
And it might be at Royal Rumble because there's plenty of build to screw this all up. At least the friendship and stuff.
There's a lot of speculation right now about Jericho going back on tour with Fozzy before WrestleMania. So yes. Jericho may not even make it to Mania. So Rumble will be his swan song with the company for the time being, at least.
Well, yeah, until he comes back in like a year.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, Jericho's got about it seems like he could wrestle for 5 to 10 more years.
Oh yeah.
He's in great shape.
Great shape, doesn't take many risks.
No.
Doesn't take any unnecessary risks.
Yeah, no. How many pay-per-view matches did they say he was like active in?
He was number 5.
No, didn't they say? Yeah, like 143. Yeah.
God, that's crazy.
143 pay-per-view matches. And a 16-year career at WWE.
He's behind Undertaker, Kane, Cena, and Triple H. Isn't that it? And
yeah.
Not that order.
But Cena's number 1, though. Yeah. Out of all of them, believe it or not. Cena came into the company, 2002 or one? Two or three. One of those two. I think it's 2002
Right.
Yeah.
when he came and showed up against Angle.
Yep.
Ruthless aggression.
2002. Yeah, he signed from working with Ultimate.
God, he was such a rookie then.
UPW as the prototype.
Yep,
Dr. Thugonomics.
that was 2004, 3.
Yeah, it was like a year
Three.
or two later. Yeah.
Not even a year, I don't think. I think he was the prototype. Then he just came out as John Cena, and then he rapped backstage one time, and somebody heard it, and they were like, "That's got to be a gimmick." So he rolled with it and became the Dr. Thugonomics. And that's when Cena was cool.
Yeah.
So we have comments in chat from Pinhead Larry. Welcome, Pinhead. Haven't seen you in chat before. He says instead of New Day Rocks, it's now New Day's Lost. And anyone else want to see Chris Jericho become champion again? Jericho's getting a title match. I don't think he's winning.
No, if he's gonna go back on tour, he's not gonna win. But it was very curious at how he looked at the title, though.
Uh-huh. That's
like
Rumble.
he kind of, yeah. I think he wants a shot. He'll get a shot.
Oh yeah, totally.
Even if they keep the friend story going on and they don't, break him apart. Maybe Owens would be like, I don't have an opponent. Yeah, let's fight together. Let's fight against each other. I'll give you a shot at the title. They could probably have a hell of a good match.
Oh God, yes, absolutely. And the thing about it, especially at the Rumble, so many amazing things could possibly happen at the Rumble leading up to WrestleMania that it's just
I think
unbelievable.
You can pretty much speculate the Rumble's going to be a 5-hour show.
Yeah.
Without the pay-per-view, without the pre-show.
Rumble Mania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series will all be 4+ hours from now on.
Easily.
I'm trying to get tickets to Mania when they come out. Because I think it's in Orlando, if I'm not, or Tampa. Orlando or Tampa, I'm trying to remember.
There's 6,120 tickets left that I last checked.
Yes.
Out of 80+ thousand. You're going to get cheap seats.
Yeah.
Got my tickets.
Yep.
And to NXT, and to Raw,
and to
SmackDown. The NXT tickets are pretty cool, though. More on that later.
Completely agree with that. We'll talk about that at another time.
Yes.
Chris Jericho to become champion again. I wouldn't mind seeing him get one if he's getting ready to hang it up once and for all. Do I think Chris Jericho deserves one last run? Yeah, I do.
Oh yes,
absolutely.
definitely.
This is some of the best work he's done in his entire career that's going on right now. He's more over than he has been, and he's even having to fight harder to be a heel in places that are going to cheer him for basically just shooting a dog out in the back parking lot.
He's so gifted. He was gifted back when he was in WCW.
God, yes.
And even ECW.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, he was pretty over when he came over to WWE, but he was more technical. He was the high flyer and everything else. But ever since he's had kids and he's had the band Fozzy and stuff, which he's had for a long time.
Right.
Not a lot of people think. Everybody thinks Fozzy's new. No, Fozzy. He's been with Fozzy, or he's had the band Fozzy since God. I don't know the exact date, but it had to have been late 90s.
99.
Yeah. It was before he even came into WWE.
It was called Fozzy Osbourne. I remember that, and they shortened it to Fozzy.
Yeah. So, and that's his actual theme music is by Fozzy, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, because he sings it. But
Jericho started that band when he was getting ready to leave WCW.
Yep. And he's been with it ever since. And so yeah, I mean, his band's popular. He's played a lot of big festivals. I mean, and he's done a lot of these tours and stuff. I mean, when he took off from WWE a while back, I mean, he was gone for what, like 3-4 years
Right.
to just be with Fozzy and write. I think he wrote 1 or 2 records during that time and did a bunch of touring. And I think he launched his podcast at that time, which is an amazing show. But yeah, I see. I don't think Jericho is going to be hanging up his boots anytime soon. He's
No.
going to go on tour with Fozzy for a while, rest his body, because he's been working hard for the last, I don't know, what, year and a half since his last break.
He's earned a break. That's
Sounds like we're underwater. Yeah,
Might
right.
be.
Miller, what are you
Might be.
doing?
I don't know.
You drowning somebody over there?
He's trying to get WrestleMania tickets. Come on, man. Get with the program.
Oh, you can do that at, whatever. But yeah, I think you can pretty much write Jericho having another reign in sometime within the next 5 years. Nothing anytime soon. I think there's too many plans in place anyway.
I mean, don't forget, Scott, the reason he came back in the first place is because he wanted to work with AJ Styles, and look what's become of that.
The brand
Nothing.
split.
He's still on the roster, and he's still as over as he's ever been. And this new List of Jericho gimmick has actually got him more over than he's been in a long time.
And stupid idiot and it.
Yeah.
I mean,
People want him to stick around now. They don't want him to fade off into the distance. They want him to stick around as long as he can.
but the craziest thing is he can disappear for, 6 to 8 to 12 months to a year and a half and come back and, all he has to do is show the list and everybody would just go bonkers for him.
You're right.
So, I mean, I think if he's going to leave, I mean, he's better as a heel. That is obvious. He's always been better as a heel. So, I mean, if he comes back, I mean, he definitely would have to be a heel, which I'm sure he'll come back. There's no other place for him to go.
I mean, it would be really nice if this would be how they would pull the trigger on the Kevin Owens face turn and have Jericho be the one that goes heel here and let Owens be the babyface for the time being. Because if you look at Owens' story, the fact that basically he's fighting for his kids, he's fighting for his family, he's fighting to survive. He's got the DDP story of WCW. He could be the people's champion if they booked him in that direction. But he's such a great talent on the mic of getting people to absolutely hate him that I really think that there's more money to be made, at least for the time being, with him being the top heel in the company like he needs to be right now.
Right. It'll be interesting come WrestleMania when he drops the title and if he switches then. But I don't think it'd be a smart move for him to switch from dropping the title. But then again, I could be wrong. But I guess it all depends on the events leading up to the match.
In fantasy booking world, where we basically live most of the time, that's what you do when you're doing podcasts. When you live
just as a wrestling fan.
Yeah, exactly. You're basically booking on the regular anyway. And the thing that would come to mind, if you want to try to pull the trigger on that, let's say that we're right, and Sami Zayn does win the Royal Rumble, and we get Zayn and Owens at WrestleMania 33 with Sami Zayn winning the Universal Championship at the end of the night. I want to see a Benoit Eddie moment with Owens and Zayn to show that two guys that have been feuding with each other have been best friends, legit best friends, tag team champions before, have battled all over the world, literally, finally get to the place where it started for them in the WWE universe. And they tear the house down at Camping World Stadium, and then they embrace knowing that they did something special. And they had finally made it, being able to main event WrestleMania in Orlando, where it all started with NXT. Obviously, not talking about anything involving their background, like the stuff they did in Canada, and obviously the stuff they did in Ring of Honor, and the stuff they did all over the world. but being able to end right there and end that storyline with them shaking hands and embracing in the center of the ring, and that leading to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fighting back to back, side by side against a common enemy on the Raw after WrestleMania, I think it just writes itself.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's just beautiful storytelling then. And and for some odd coincidental reason, it just on the same roster, it just makes even better sense. I mean, they have shown old videos of Sammy and Kevin and stuff like that, and intertwined the kid in Owen's kid. Well, I don't think I've seen it on YouTube. Like, there's a great El Generico versus Kevin Steen match where Little Steen gets involved, and it just Owen snaps. But
yeah, the Steen and Generico matches are stuff of legend.
Yeah, and I would almost hope that WWE goes that route, and if it's because between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, I mean, you can tell the backstory behind it all.
I want to see Owens bring out the El Generico mask on Raw. So you remember
there
this?
you go. Yep. And then listen to the crowd go, oh.
Hearing 80,000 people do that in April is going to be incredible.
Yeah. It's going to be a great. I mean, you can see it coming almost. You can see Owens just cutting by the skin of his teeth to keep the title.
Right.
I mean, he ain't gonna probably defend it at the Elimination Chamber, but even if he does, I mean, he's gonna walk away. They're gonna keep the title on him until WrestleMania. He has a record.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then the story that they're playing with Sammy. I mean, it just makes so much sense to go right into it, and I think if they don't pull that trigger, there's going to be a lot of us fantasy bookers that are going to be pissed.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. They're not. No matter how perfect a storyline is, nothing's official until WWE are like, "Hey, let's listen to this podcast and see what they have to say," and they go with the storyline. The thing is, I mean, as much as we want something, when you look at a general wrestling fan, they're not thinking like that. They're not thinking. They're thinking what's going to happen on Raw the next week. They're not thinking what's going to happen at WrestleMania.
Oh, of course not. And that's where I say that they'll have to tell the backstory and everything with the videos and stuff, because
I cannot wait for that video package. My God.
If they make it into an event that you got to see, they're going to put out some crazy stuff, and especially if Kevin and Sammy start putting out, personal stuff from before, like from when they were independents. I mean, they have access to Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor freaking video library, so they can come up with some freaking content.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And even personal videos that they have recorded. So they can make it into a hell of a show.
Ashley, you haven't talked for a while. You all right?
I've just been going for
listening to me, Gab.
And whatever. Going for a quick stretch because I've got a busy week ahead.
Yes.
Same
here.
So by and large, continue, Scott.
But yeah, the match ended like how I thought that. Well, I didn't actually think that was totally out of left field for me. I thought Jericho was going to interfere, but to do it on behalf of Kevin or Roman, whatever, confusing.
Genius.
It was really, it was a cool moment. I was like, whoa, okay. And then Seth coming out and just laying waste with Roman, and you could hear the people like, Shield reuniting, yeah. I'm like, no. They're just doing that. They hate each other. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as the overall show goes, out of 5, I'll give it a solid 3. That's stretching it. So, but the women's match really carried it over. The women's match alone was a 4.5 for me. So,
All right.
but yeah, sorry to chew up an hour of you guys' time. I hope the rest of the show goes by fast.
To be honest, Scott, like you said, you don't normally get to stick around all the time for the entire show anyway, so it's nice to be able to talk about the entire show before you would have to leave for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I didn't make it to Raw last week was because I was in a crappy area and I couldn't watch the show. So I mean, that's gonna come time to time when I'm moving around these gracious United States of ours and treacherous weathers.
Right.
But I somehow managed to miss this complete storm that ravaged the Midwest and Northeast. I actually drove through Baltimore earlier, and I don't know if you guys did you hear that the bad accident that happened in 95 in Baltimore?
Oh, the gas was a gas truck or something like that.
Yeah, tanker truck.
Yep.
Well, it was a pile up, and the tanker truck flipped over the side of the highway. It was an overpass over some railroad tracks and fell down and exploded. That driver died. So, yeah, the roads were terrible. I've lucked out very, very much so on not running into any of that crap. So
that's a good thing.
Yep.
But yeah, being a truck driver sucks. And sometimes, and a lot of people are going to say, the drivers were going too fast. If you watch the video, the way that hill is positioned, when you're going up it, they had it salted going up it, but they didn't salt it going down. And people lost control at the bottom of the hill, and it was raining at the time or sleeting. So, like, pretty damn quickly, it got really slick, and roads can change on a dime, and people got to realize that.
Right.
And a lot of those trucks weren't going that fast. The tanker was probably going the fastest. The guy that saw it said he was going about 50, 55, and I was like, no, I doubt that. That guy, if he was going 50, 55 and he hit that wall, the tanker, and if he was full too, he wouldn't have went over the wall and down below. But I think he was half full because of the time of the morning it was, and the slosh of it kind of threw him over. But yeah, there's when you watch stuff like that as a truck driver, you think, well, some of these guys just got up that morning down in Jessup, which is just south of Baltimore, and was heading north to try and beat some of the storm. And I blame a lot of it on Baltimore and the state of Maryland for not, being out there and treating the roads and whatever. But that's my opinion. But black ice can happen anywhere, so
Right.
always be safe. If conditions don't look like it, just pull over. Even if you're in a car, it's not worth it. You could lose your life in a snap. So there's my words of wisdom. Thank you, and good night.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, but let's get more in depth into the actual show now. We're going to start with the opening match. Ashley, let's talk about the kickoff show and the fact that another premonition that the Popcast Network brought up months ago finally came to fruition with Sam Roberts joining the pre-show panel.
Yeah,
oh wait, hold on.
That I've actually heard of. Somebody that I've heard of. Big fan.
All right, hold on real quick. I just want to say, all right, I'm going to take off. Thanks, Owen. Ashley, you have yourself a good morning over there, over in the UK. Drink your tea and biscuits.
I don't.
It's not biscuits, is it?
You as well.
And talk to you later, Miller.
All right, see you, man.
And to the Popcast Network. Follow me on Twitter, Great Traveling Scott, GR8. the number 8, TRAVLNSUTT. Peace out. Till tomorrow.
Safe travels, sir. See you tomorrow.
Beep, beep.
All right, so and we're down to the three of us now. So we're going to talk about Sam Roberts. Like I said, like Ashley, you said somebody that you actually knew on the pre-show panel.
It's somebody that somebody that's inside the bubble of wrestling,
Right.
that is actually brought on, rather than somebody that the majority of people won't fucking know. Because guess what? Most people don't have the American version of ESPN, and even if they do, it probably hasn't got him on.
Very good point. Yeah, he did a great job, honestly.
Yeah.
Yes, Sam was being meticulous and detailed, everything a person on that sort of panel should be. It said a lot that bloody every time they were cutting away to interviews or adverts or whatever, Booker T was laughing his ass off because it was always at some comment that Sam made. Like, I remember the one where he said, "I'd give up my firstborn and he's still in my wife's womb." And it's like,
genius. Just genius.
beautiful, beautiful.
And he comes off like a real journalist that knows what he's talking about. He's not wearing I mean, we're not going to rip on Peter Rosenblum, but I mean, the thing is, one of the things is he was wearing a jacket with an American Alpha shirt. That's not extremely professional. Rosenberg, not Rosenblum.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
but the thing is,
I couldn't even be bothered to get a fucking shirt and tie.
Sam Roberts, on the other hand, was dressed in a suit. He was prepared. He knew what he was talking about. He obviously has got a lot of experience talking to superstars with his podcast and also with the radio station. I mean, Peter has the same situation too. It's just I think he comes off a lot more genuine in what he's saying than Peter does. So
yeah,
let's move on to the actual match, unless you have any thoughts about the pre-show itself.
I hated that match. I really did.
Oh God, let's get to it. So yeah, we get Big Cass with Enzo against Rusev. The first thing, Enzo comes out wearing one of his new Enzo Amore wigs that you can buy on WWE Shop, which made his hair look even worse than normal.
That was a wig?
Yeah. Because he took it off when he came out. Obviously, he was like down the middle of the ramp. He took it off.
Because they showed the
hair. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, because they did the stupid live reaction cam from the crowd, and a lot of them were wearing it too. I noticed that.
So let's talk about this. Ashley, there's a promo, of course, before this match starts.
Oh, fucking hell! Yeah, they listen. They listen.
Yeah, they do. Clearly,
they listen to ones because it's like I was a bit of a fool. Basically, just sort of Russian sort of jokes, tying into the whole, they hacked Trump's election. Lana is a hacker.
Yeah,
which Paige is going, no, that was my original gimmick, you fucks.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, if I wanted to see Lana naked, all I'd have to do is look at the WikiLeaks. I'm just going, 2 words, ban she. It's actually 1 word, but I'm spreading it out into 2, so it doesn't have to be spelled SAWFT.
Fair point.
Just search Lana Banshee topless, and you get to see her tits. Admittedly, that is before the enhancement job. So, you know,
So that
you
happened.
win some, you lose some.
The thing is, this match, Big Cass versus Rusev, nothing much to it at all.
Mm-mm.
Nothing really. They.
Well, I mean, I don't want to skip to the finish, but this is tonight proof that Roadblock should have been called Roadblock End of the Match.
Yeah, because didn't they announce that they're going to be fighting tomorrow on Raw? They're going to have a rematch.
Yes, we're going to be seeing this match again on Raw tonight.
Because finish number 1, count out finish.
Yeah, it's really weird. So Cass powders. Well, Cass chases Rusev, who powders to the outside. He actually goes through the crowd.
Mhm.
So they fight in the crowd for like a second. And then Lana ends up going behind Enzo. Enzo turns around. Lana drops like Enzo knocked her down. So Rusev like nails him from behind. And then Cass comes in the ring, comes in to make sure that Enzo's okay. And by this time, Rusev has beaten the count, and there's a count out. I don't like this feud. I don't want this feud. I haven't asked for this feud. Cass is.
It's so random. It's such a random feud to have.
Oh, good. There's an important Twitter account that's apparently saying a new Lana nude is making its way to the end.
So, yeah, the thing about this match...
More ammunition to say, not Banshee.
Rusev wins a count out to kick off your show. Yeah, let's get the crowd really into it. I don't like this feud. I've never liked this feud. Enzo is not very good in the ring, so they basically cover that up by his promo skills and working tag matches. I get that. That's fine. So him being the valet of Cass, I got no issues with that. That's fine. He can talk for Cass. Everything works. But the problem I have with this match is obviously on a wrestling standpoint, they see more of Cass than Enzo. The thing is, Cass isn't extremely over without Enzo, because when he came out and Enzo wasn't there to do the sing-along with the crowd, he wasn't as over. He didn't get a huge of a reaction as he normally gets. If you look at the storyline from the perspective of someone with intelligence, Rusev is the biggest babyface on Raw right now, even though he's not supposed to be, because logic is saying that we need to boo him, even though he basically he is the guy that's getting screwed over more than anything.
Yeah, I saw a tweet. It's like, what I took away from Roadblock, it's like Rusev is the only face left on Raw right now.
Yeah, Rusev and Sami Zayn, and that's about it.
Yep.
Yeah, just a throwaway match. There wasn't much to it. They kept it on the pre-show. They kept it short. That's all I can really say. Miller, you have any thoughts?
Really disappointed. They didn't even use the whole time, I guess, because what they start at maybe 7:40 instead of 8:00 Eastern time.
Right, around that time.
Yeah, it was just a really disappointing match. I mean, from what I saw, Big Cass was putting just a beat down on Rusev, and I honestly thought Enzo was gonna distract. Instead of Lana, I thought Enzo was gonna distract Rusev, but I mean the opposite kind of happened, and yeah, that wasn't really eventful.
Yeah, it
Just
kind of happened. Ashley, thoughts?
As a pre-show match, it was okay. In fact, it's on Raw. Well, fuck.
Exactly. So we move on to our main show. before the main show, we get a pan over from the crowd. I will say one thing about the Roadblock ring. It kind of looks like a toy with the way that it's decorated. It looks like one of the Hasbro WWF rings from the 90s. Very reminiscent of the King of the Ring version I had that was yellow.
Mm-hmm.
WWE Tag Team titles on the line. The New Day defending their never-ending title reign against Cesaro and Sheamus. There's a promo before this.
New Day are just celebrating because they're the longest tag team champ of the times. Because New Day rocks. Cesaro and Sheamus actually have an entrance.
Are you going to gloss over what Big E was saying?
I swear this is because I swear this is because he's looking at the same WWE adult Twitter account. Because I noticed right before the bloody pay-per-view started, they were tweeting about oh no, it probably was in relation to this. People were calling it WWE cock block. It was probably because of this. Hang on, let me see when it was tweeted. Yeah, it would have been when Big E said it. That makes sense.
So yeah, like Ashley alluded to, Cesaro and Sheamus have a tag team entrance now. This match, solid back and forth. No shock here. Good stuff that happens periodically throughout the match. So Cesaro with the top rope Rana on Kofi. This leaves Sheamus to hit Big E with a brogue kick outside the ring. Cesaro with the swing into the sharpshooter, but of course Kofi is tapping, and the referee's distracted by Xavier on the ring apron with the trombone, of course. Then we get something really nasty. Cesaro ends up catching Kofi, and he hits the neutralizer, and it looked like he was about to drop Kofi on his neck. So that didn't look very good. But kudos to them for saving it. Big E breaks up the pin at the last second. Cesaro ends up diving onto Xavier on the outside. Sheamus goes for the brogue. Xavier shoves Kofi out of the way. He eats the brogue. He dodges the bullet and takes it for himself. Kofi hits the SOS and gets the near fall. So what happens is Sheamus goes for the hot tag to Cesaro. He pulls his hand at the last minute, but at first glance it looked like the tag was completed, at least for the New Day. So Kofi comes in, and he hits the Trouble in Paradise, and he goes for the pin, but he gets caught when Sheamus dives on him with the leverage advantage, and since Sheamus is still the legal man, the referee counts the 3, and Sheamus and Cesaro have finally stopped the New Day's never-ending tag team title reign.
Yeah.
I will say right now that after this was over, they ended up really kind of screwing up what they had built in the finish of this. So New Day are just upset, obviously. Xavier looked really mad that they're not the champions any longer. He looked like he didn't want to relinquish the gold. So they hand the belts to Cesaro and Sheamus, and Cesaro takes the title, and he's gracious, and he hugs the New Day. And then Sheamus grabs both belts and celebrates like he's Conor McGregor. And the next thing you know, Cesaro, while this is happening, he runs into the crowd, celebrates with the crowd, while Sheamus is putting himself over, raising the titles in the air, and then Cesaro grabs the title, and then Sheamus is like, what are you doing, and everything. And I mean, it looked like they were really building towards this was going to lead to Sheamus basically being forced to turn face because making this tag team work. But they're basically making it now that Sheamus is out for himself and only wanted the gold and didn't care what he had to do to get it. So I think they made a huge mistake in booking right there, to be totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
Solid match, though. Great way to kick off the show.
But honestly, how
Yeah,
long do
but
you think
remember,
that tag team is gonna?
It's called Roadblock End of the Match. Are we not bringing up the end of the match?
I just
So
called the
after
finish.
everything, have we talked the finish?
Yeah, I talked about all of it just a minute ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is why I consider this. It's a decent show, but had so much promise, and it was the whole concept of New Day like passing the belts, and of course Sheamus takes them to himself. So the whole idea that actually likes each other has just gone out the fucking window.
Exactly what I just said. Miller can vouch for this because he heard it all.
Oh, but I just think this is fucking preposterous.
Yeah, it ruined the tag team.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. I'm like, how long do you think this tag team is gonna last for real?
What one result had caused the death of the tag team division?
Mm-hmm.
Also, keep in mind, one person claiming that they are both the tag team champions.
Here we go again. Your conspiracy theory.
Every single fucking storyline that is happening in the men's division, bar the cruiserweights, on both brands, is some variant of a Daniel Bryan storyline, or in the case of The Miz, is a Daniel Bryan storyline. Everything.
It's true.
Styles being the new guy claiming, he's the new face of WWE, and then Cena shows up. Owens, getting into a feud with Roman Reigns. What was the other one that was? Seth. Yeah, Seth and Seth, out for pursuing Triple H to get his title and get back at the Authority. Really, this shit ring any bells?
It's a good point.
Every single storyline is just to make Daniel Bryan fucking depressed and kill himself. And then they have to do an in memoriam whole episode of Raw and SmackDown because they caused it. By the way,
Gonna go that far.
Don't be a bully, be a star. So probably a good. Yeah. Interesting how they don't fucking mention be a star. And then we have Braun Strowman massacring the fuck out of Sami Zayn.
I'll get to that. Don't worry.
Well, that's next, isn't it?
Actually, you are correct. It is next.
Yeah. Remember, I booked this.
You did book this. That's correct.
The only thing I got wrong was the cruiserweights.
Hold on. Before this, we have an interview segment in the back that I'm sure you want to talk about.
Oh, this is where that fucking happened.
Yes.
I didn't take. I didn't take any notes. I just, Charlie, the great Caruso. The great Caruso's trying to do an interview with Kevin, and I think Kevin's actually trying to fucking help her, but she doesn't react to anything. He basically is like, I don't, what even is your name?
I don't care.
That was me, No. Hang on, I'm trying to get to the point. If I was the great Caruso, well, if I wouldn't be the great Caruso, but if I was in that position of being the interviewer and having that, even if I was keeping the mic to their face so they could cut the rest of their promo, I basically go, well, I'd say something. Because then when they say, I don't care, it makes sense. It's the equivalent of, The Rock saying, what is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
Pretty much.
There needs to be from the interviewer to make it bloody work. So she's just standing there making faces like a gurning bloody twat. Like, the best thing is, even the cameraman got fucking lazy because then we panned over to Jericho.
Right.
And Jericho was offered a festive scarf, which, to be quite honest, I hope that didn't. I think that must have been made by the seamstress, because nobody would buy that fucking shit. Ever. But yeah, Caruso goes on to prove she should not be in the WWE in any way, shape, or form. Hashtag Vince McMahon has killed Kathy Kelly.
Well, it's just speculation as always. The thoughts and opinions of Ashley are not necessarily those of the Popcast Network.
He's raped and murdered her because he's never going to see his wife again because she's in part of Team Trump. Vince is living out his dreams of thinking he's John Holmes. We just need to get to Wonderland.
Oh, God. Vince is John Holmes. That's got to be the line of the night so far. So let's talk.
It makes sense.
Okay.
Except it's more like Johnny Watt. No, not Johnny Watt. Brock Landers?
Yeah, Brock Landers.
Where it's clearly... It's more Brock Landers than Johnny Watt.
Yeah. That's very interesting. We put it that way. I mean, I think Vince, if you want to get
speaking of getting fucked over by the system, this next match,
Vince is more Scotty than Brock, regardless what he thinks. Anyway, so this lead. Oh, that's funny because after this happens, Ashley, before the match, you notice that Owens goes to the door to talk to Jericho. And I swear to you, I got Frozen vibes from this.
No, that was later on.
Reading my notes.
That was later.
That was later on. That came after the match, so we need to touch on that later.
We will talk about Frozen momentarily. Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman. Sami Zayn must last 10 minutes against the big man. So the clocks on the screen have started off. So they're at least giving us that, thankfully.
We're testing the clock to make sure it works. Otherwise, the Iron Man match is going to be pretty shit.
In a sign of things to come, Sami Zayn ends up getting his mouth busted open. I noticed that.
Hard way.
Yeah, hard way. First time that happened tonight. So Mick Foley comes out. He's got the towel. It's going to go into Survivor Series territory with Owen Hart and Bob Backlund. And Sammy is basically begging him not to toss in the towel to call for the end of the match. So he basically takes the towel, throws it into the crowd to a nice reaction from the crowd. So, and then the match basically goes from there. There's really not much to it. Sami Zayn gets tossed around like a rag doll, literally. So Zayn ends up...
Does that have double meaning, though?
Yeah, kind of.
Because he threw it in the crowd, does that mean Sami Zayn's given up on the fans?
Braun's got Sammy in trouble. He
Don't
goes
get
for the there we go. He goes for the avalanche, and of course he misses. And then he goes into the ring post shoulder first. He charges in when they're out to the outside. He crashes through the barricade. He beats the count at 9, hits the avalanche, but again goes to the ring post. Sammy goes for the flying body press. He gets a near fall off of that. And he gets basically pressed to the outside. And this is what killed the time here. So Sammy gets back in the ring, hits the haluva kick, and he sets up for the second one. And I'm going to guess that's what was supposed to happen if time didn't run out. Because the bell rang and the match was over.
Yeah, it did look like he was about to hit it again. For sure.
And Ashley, the thing that you mentioned about Sammy hitting 2 and then going for a pin, and then right as he was going for a pin, the time expired. And that's probably what the finish was supposed to be, but that's what they ended up going with, was the fact that he hits the first one and he sets for the second one, but there wasn't enough time. The Foley stuff seemed like it took a little bit longer than it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Foley has come off being like the overprotective father of Sami Zayn in this entire program.
Yep.
I think that they're building to Braun Strowman going absolute bonkers tonight on Raw.
Yeah.
And we get some sort of a stipulation match with Zayn, and Zayn wins again. And then Braun ends up like snapping and like starting to attack people. And hopefully this leads to them setting up his match against Roman, which is supposed to happen at WrestleMania, if you believe what rumors are saying. But I hope Sami Zayn ends up entering himself into the Royal Rumble. That's what I want to see. I want to see Sami Zayn officially say, I want to go bell to bell. I want to prove it to everyone that I am as great as I am as good as people think, as other people think I am. I want to prove to you that I'm worth taking a chance on. I not only want to be in the Royal Rumble, I officially want to be number 1 in the Royal Rumble. And Foley has no choice but to give it to him. That's what should happen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've never really liked Braun Strowman as a performer.
I don't like him on his own.
He's still Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. He's got like that rip-off Rhino theme. I feel like it's growling at me when he comes out.
No.
The pants thing you want to talk about, obviously.
I need to get this on. Oh, what's it called?
I don't know. I'm not in your head.
Where the fuck is it? I can't remember the name of the fucking track.
That's a good sign. The power of live radio, ladies and gentlemen. I say this every week, and I will continue to say it.
Yeah. I can't remember what it is.
But at any rate, yeah, I mean, like you said, Ashley, technically he survived. There was never any sort of announcement saying that if Sami Zayn survived, he would officially win. So you have a reason to believe this was a time limit draw, basically.
Yeah. I guess I was wrong.
And to be totally honest, the match didn't really justify like Mick Foley coming out. There wasn't enough brutality in the match that you would think that Sami Zayn can't continue. Like we're talking, obviously going back to NXT when Kevin Owens basically Brock Lesnar'd Sami Zayn so much that they basically stopped the match. They didn't have that kind of brutality in this match. It was just kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
So, thoughts on the match, Miller?
The whole time leading up to Foley coming in was just literally like torture porn.
Oh, wow.
They were just like Sami Zayn. Like I guess you can say the first minute he was doing a really good job of just like dodging all of Strowman's like attacks. But after that, Strowman just was beating the living shit out of him.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then Foley came out in that, and then like Scott said when he was here, that kind of ruined some of the momentum. It killed a lot of the time.
Right.
And so it was just like, yeah, he's gonna survive. There's no way in like 2 minutes that they're just gonna give it to him in that time. So yeah, Sami Zayn, I definitely agree with you. I do think he'll show up in Royal Rumble. I don't know if he's gonna be the number one entry, but I think he'll definitely be somewhere in the higher ups.
Right.
At the Royal.
And Ashley, you have any thoughts?
I mean, it did what it had to do. They did a stupid finish, which meant that Sammy won, which, cheapens it. But, at least we know what happens tomorrow. Just play that on loop. Finally found the Napalm Death song.
Oh, wow. So we move on. We get a hype package for the UK Championship Tournament, which is going to be running for 2 days in January. I will state that we are covering it here on the network. It won't be live, but Ashley and myself will be doing a recap of both shows that Sunday at some point. Thankfully, that's not an awards weekend, so that's a good thing.
What we mean by it will be live. It just won't be directly after the thing like it is with this. It will be probably a few hours later or whatever, depending what time it finishes, because I don't even know that yet.
Right, and it's the same thing with Wrestle Kingdom. Like, there's no way we can do. I mean, we've done early podcasts before, but that was only 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, but the complicated issue with Wrestle Kingdom is, of course, it's Wednesday.
Yeah, I know.
So that just means it's going to be a super bloody long Wednesday Popcast.
Sounds good to me.
To open 2016 with
17.
No, we're going backwards in time.
Oh, sweet.
We've got to be going backwards in time. We're doing shit ton gimmicks from like the 1980s.
Yeah.
Kay's Jewelers. Toys R Us with the bloody cage,
That commercial.
The Karate Fighters tournament is just up, down, down's Madden tour. It's all going. What we need now is Hulk Hogan to come back, but that'll never happen. Oh fuck!
I wouldn't be surprised if we hear Real American in Camping World Stadium. That's for sure.
That's why I said, "Oh fuck."
What a great WrestleMania to have beer first. Anyway, so we get our next match. It's Chris Jericho and Seth Rollins. Crowd don't know who to cheer for in this match, so it's kind of disjointed right off the top. Solid match between the two. They went a little bit under 20 minutes. So Seth hits the tope suicida, and Jericho ends up countering Seth into the walls. Seth gets the ropes, and he goes for a frog splash later on. Jericho's out of the way. Jericho hits the lion salt near fall off of that. Seth hits the Falcon Arrow. Yeah, he does the deal. Gets the near fall. Goes to the wall.
deal.
He did the deal, exactly. Seth escaped again. Kevin Owens runs out, and Jericho's like, what are you doing here? But, of course, before that, Seth knocks him off the apron with a couple forearms. Jericho's like, get out of here. Stay out of my business. And then, at this point, he hits a leaping knee, and he misses the splash in the corner. Jericho goes for the code breaker, gets countered into the pedigree, 1, 2, 3, and match over. Good stuff here. I like this match. It felt like it could have been more, to be honest. I mean, it's very interesting. This is the night of all the frog splashes, Ashley, given the fact this is Rob Van Dam's birthday. So everyone was paying tribute to Rob Van Dam tonight.
Dude.
But yeah, some good stuff.
I mean, but again, the finish
was
some sort of distraction. End of the roadblock, end of the match. We're gonna do Michael Cole, and you're gonna hate me for saying it, but I just want to reiterate it because it was so true. Yeah, Kevin Owens comes out to cause some sort of distraction, which led to the finish. Obviously, it wasn't the one that he wanted, but it's still distraction that led to finish. Yeah,
Agreed.
I need to get a tally, but I've run out of fucking tally paper.
I mean, it was a solid back and forth match, but there really wasn't much to it. Miller, thoughts?
Yeah, just it was a really back and really like you said, a really solid back and forth match. And this goes into saying that it was like a match that we could easily see on Raw. Like it seemed just like a normal Raw match. There really wasn't anything big about it. I guess like I was thinking from the beginning, I'm like, you're gonna have Kevin come out, especially with all the friendship stuff going on.
Right.
And that was a really easy thing to predict. I thought Kevin might get involved, getting on Rollins or something like that, maybe hitting something on Rollins, but didn't happen. Then it took, I think Seth Rollins should pedigree Kevin Owens, Jericho twice maybe, and then he failed both times, then he eventually hit it the last time.
Yeah, he fought out of it a couple of times. He did the backdrop out where Seth lands on his feet.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, it was a solid match. It was just something really simple, and I feel like it could have been on Raw, like just a simple Raw match. But
right,
yeah.
Ashley,
well, sad that it's like the second best match in terms of not being that screwy.
Right.
When it was still screwy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then the only booking that I got wrong. Because next up we had the Cruiserweight triple threat with Rich Swann defending against the correct graphic TJ Perkins and the man with the plan. Except his plan is to make Eva Marie, in which case, yes, just like America wasn't great before Trump, allegedly.
Austin Aries is on commentary.
Yeah, saying Michael Cole, the voice of my generation here in the WWE. And you can see Corey going, you're lying out your fucking teeth, and I love it.
Austin Aries is, we've been saying before, Aries is going to be the one that's going to really revolutionize this division when he's able to work. And that is the case. That is the correct answer. But in the meantime, there's someone else that can take that mantle for the time being. We'll get to that. We're getting ahead of ourselves. They've been playing
on Roadblock, end of the match.
End of the match. Yeah, they've been playing. They've been playing hot potato with these three lately on 205 Live and on Raw with doing the I pin you one week, I lose the next week. Just the 50-50 booking we always talk about every single time. And real quick, one of the things that happens is right away Brian Kendrick gets messed up. It's interesting because Rich Swann goes for what it looked like to be a leapfrog. And when he does, he knees Kendrick right in the face, and Kendrick disappears for a minute. Some good stuff in this match. Other than that, double Rana that looked really good. Some really good stuff in this match. Swann hits a missile drop kick on Perkins, and Kendrick transitions into the captain's hook. So knee bars locked on Kendrick, and the rolling splash by Swann breaks up the hold. Kendrick goes for sliced bread number 2, gets countered, super kick from TJP. He ducks the hook kick, locks the knee bar on Swann. Swann gets to the ropes, but of course it's a 3-way, so that means there's no rope break. But he's still released anyway because he's a nice guy. So that's career suicide right there.
He's
or is it
not Ryan Gosling.
Anyway,
he's not Ryan Gosling.
No, he's not Ryan Gosling. So super kick. They basically hit the long day. They hit a double super kick on Kendrick, and Perkins gets caught with the overhead hook kick, and Swann retains. Not much of this match at all. I don't know why Rich Swann is outlandish. I don't know why they have to keep bringing this up every 5 minutes. It's almost like a drinking game at this point. Yeah.
Perhaps a light fan of the hit Outlander.
Oh, that's possible, but I mean,
that's why he isn't sure on it yet.
Okay, if you look at the definition of outlandish, it's looking or sounding bizarre or unfamiliar. Nothing about Rich Swann comes off bizarre or unfamiliar.
Yep.
An obsession with Lionel Richie.
Okay, that's not bizarre. That's just kind of there, I guess.
Hello? Does it not sound that in the words? You can see it on his face. Something. He loves you. I don't know.
Anyway, the story of this match was not the match itself. It was what happened afterwards.
Roadblock ended.
Yes.
So we get the ring introduction of Neville Man. Neville Man returns.
Never mind.
But he's not the same.
Take him by the hand. Tell the beard on him.
Neville Man looks like Drew Galloway again.
Neville Man looking like a WCPW champ.
Exactly. Neville Man looks like the WCPW champ. We'll talk about that in one set. And what does Neville do? He gets in the ring and he attacks Rich Swann. Perkins tries to do something. He offers
his hand and then just like, BAM! Right in the kisser.
Yeah, he hits the spinning back kick, the front kick, spinning back kick. Hits a super kick. He drop kicks him at the side of the head. He tosses Swann into the barricade on the outside, does the same thing to Perkins. He tosses him in the ring and just, like, leaves. The crowd's chanting, "Thank you, Neville." I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this.
Is this what this division actually need to get people to pay attention to it? In which case, Jimmy Jacobs is God.
Yes, I could have told you that.
I'm guessing he wrote it.
Oh,
considering he's friends with all of them.
Right. So Neville basically doesn't do anything crazy, doesn't do anything outlandish of his own. He basically just comes in, beats down everybody except for Kendrick, because Kendrick's a heel, so he doesn't touch him. But he beats Swann and Perkins down and stakes his claim to the championship. So my guess because he's going to show up on 205 Live this week and say he wants a title shot.
Did he get trained by Kendrick though?
Actually, I can tell you.
I'm trying to think.
No. It
It's
says
sort
he
of
was trained by the Independent Wrestling Federation. In Northeast England.
Excuse. It's an excuse.
Yes,
Kendrick all along.
But still, this was great. This was something very much needed. If you want to get people to care, you got to give them characters to care about. And people are starting to get on the Rich Swann bandwagon, but to have someone like Neville return and just like beat the daylights out of the two baby faces in the match, I like this. Obviously, when we're not in Pittsburgh, which is normally a heel town anyway, people are going to boo this, but this was absolutely brilliant in every way possible. Neville is going to be the heel of this division until Austin Aries is able to come in and take the spot. But I think they both are going to be able to be quite the top heels for the Cruiserweight division. I kind of love this, I'm not going to lie.
The
Miller
Cruiserweight division now has purpose.
Yeah, it does.
So,
Miller thoughts?
Truthfully, I never really watched like 205 Live, and but I know who the superstars were. It was an interesting match. I didn't really care until the end when Neville came out. That was probably the biggest highlight of that match for me. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't particularly my favorite match, but it wasn't my least favorite match either. So it's just somewhere in the middle. There's really not much for me to say about it.
I've realized what might be happening here.
Okay.
Neville wins somewhere down the line. Then drops the belt to Aries.
Right.
Via some sort of commentator shenanigan. And when Aries wins the belt, Itami's music plays.
That makes sense.
And what we should have got in NXT is still going to happen, except it's now for an actual title, which is on the main product in the Cruiserweights.
That does make sense. Yeah, I could actually see that happening, to be honest.
And then Zack Sabre Jr. murders them all.
I
with capital MUDERRRR and 17 capital exclamation marks.
Indeed. So we move on now. Go ahead, Ashley.
Do you want to fuck up Roman? Do you want to ruin his day?
Yes.
Do you want to piss him off by pissing in his soup? In his curds and his whey?
That's what happens when you don't have everything figured out. You come up with something like that. But to be honest, tell me that wasn't what was coming in your mind.
That's what it was going to be all the time, because I'm going to hear enough of that on Christmas Day when they're actually premiering it on television.
Yeah, that's correct. It's on Freeform.
God.
So yeah, it was a Frozen.
Yeah, weirdly.
It was a Frozen moment between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. You can't tell me that wasn't.
I really fucking like you. I love you too much. But this isn't Brokeback Mountain. This is a Disney film.
Someone needs to get on that now and write that song, please. Let's.
I think there is one. Somebody, hang on.
No. Brian Zane did. Do you want to watch some wrestling? But I mean, that's not the same thing.
No. Yeah, my man, my fucking man. Oh, bloody Martin, aka Little Kuribo. Did back in the day.
Do you want to jump to Roman?
There you go.
Make him look really strong. It's true your staph infection's bad, but you're just the lad to fix what we've got wrong.
The job to Roman Reigns song that
That fits
made
even
CM
more.
Punk quit. Yeah,
More now.
that's that's where I got the idea from, because I remember somebody did sort of Roman Reigns parody.
That's great.
That it was at the same. It was getting, because it was the Breaking Bad finale. They were linking to Jesse and Walter going, "Do you want to build a meth lab?" Yeah, so there's all sorts of directions.
And on that note, let's go
That's
to the
why I said, "Do you want to
main
fuck up
event.
Roman?" Oh God. The one that has divided the fucking internet again.
So, semi-main event, the Iron Woman match, 30 minutes. There must be a winner. This is literally the end of the feud. I'll believe it when I see it. Women's title on the line. Sasha Banks defending against Charlotte. First off, if you notice, Charlotte has gone undefeated in singles matches on pay-per-view. This is her 14th. This is going to be her 15th singles match on pay-per-view. Number two, Sasha can't beat. Always drops the title to Charlotte when she is defending the first time. This title's been around for 9 months, and we are, even just to get ahead of ourselves, someone is a champion 4 times.
And the other person has held the belt 3 times.
Right.
There have only been 2 champions. 2.
That's not right.
Oh no. That's perfectly fine. Except it's in the space of 9 months.
That's why I'm saying it's not right. It's been 9 months.
Sasha's longest title run isn't even as fucking long as Charlotte's shortest. Obviously not including what happened tonight.
Let's get to that.
Which really goes to show you, and I understand Pachiti's tweet saying how it doesn't devalue the belt. Because to some extent, I don't think it does.
No.
Because it hasn't really done that in Japanese, switch the belt willy-nilly all the time. What it does do, especially when it's the same 2 people that keep switching the belt, is makes the one that keeps losing it as to be the transitional champ terrible. And just by coincidence, it's a black woman. In the same week that a load of hate against the bloody tweet that and Rich Swann and Sasha were in, stressing, how they were proud to be black champions. Spoilers, 4/5 of them now don't have a belt. And with Neville's reputation, looks like all of them are not, hashtag Black Lives Don't Matter, apparently. Because Roman Reigns is black because he's Samoan. Fuck off.
It's crazy to say the least. Let's talk about the match. Kevin Dunn, which Ashley loves to bring up so much every single time, loves this new thing about filming the crowd during weird times.
Are we bringing up the 10
10 minutes, yes.
So it's what was it? Basically, it was sort of a bank statement-esque thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sasha was really flexing her back in some sort of submission-style maneuver.
Yeah. It was the straight jacket surfboard.
Fucking done. Somebody in the crowd because he's like, well, that's a good reaction to sum it up. Basically, this guy who's practically going cross-eyed because he's probably jerking off inside the bloody stadium.
Isn't he like that coyote on like the Looney Tunes cartoons with his eyes bugging out and everything? Is that basically what he's doing?
Probably. But the thing is, when that was shown, he's shown to everybody because the camera feed always, the feed that basically goes out for the pay-per-view pretty much always does.
Right.
Which meant there was a giant round of laughter going round the thing in a fucking serious match that's taking place. This is why these camera angles should be done sparingly and for the right reasons.
Right.
Because that shown devalued this should have been. Because don't get me wrong, like with all good Iron Man matches, it started off shit and built beautifully to a crescendo, but it says a lot that was one of the most highlight-worthy moments of the thing, just because of how fucking off-putting and weird it was to basically see that as part of a thing.
It's true.
When Black Guy had his eyes out when Undertaker lost, it was after the match because he's reacting to it in shock. If you're in a 30-minute match, which you're treating that, we've got to treat the women seriously, and people fucking laugh at his reaction, that means people are laughing technically at the women's wrestling because of the reaction that he's doing to their wrestling.
It is true.
So you're actually harming what you're trying to do. He's using the shots for all the wrong reasons. When we had New Day make their entrance, they just had kids just like dancing in the arena.
They did that with Swan's entrance too. They just zoomed on like everyone
that was
dancing.
It was Rich when you handle it entrance, yeah.
It was cringy.
Which if they want a lot of material to bloody sex offenders to jerk off to, good job, Kevin Dunn. You've satisfied a lot of very disturbed ladies and gentlemen. Because I'm not going to be sexist. Men are sexual perverts. There's probably some women out there as well.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just, it's annoying. And on top, it's annoying that happens. And then, of course, when we get to the, end of the match, it's compounded even more on that fact that it just feels like the division itself is not being treated with any respect. To be quite honest, nothing is. The most respectful thing I've seen on television this week regarding to wrestling was the British Championship tournament announcement.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, SmackDown had stuff that insulted my intelligence. Ring of Honor, I'm not sure because I haven't been able to catch it yet because it's getting put up tomorrow.
Right.
TNA, I don't know what to think about that. WCPW had some very weird things which we'll get to. You know, it just seems to be the trend. People can't be asked to write either intelligent or engrossing stuff. It's just a case of put the shit out and they better like it, otherwise we'll write more of it.
It's a good point.
Which fucking terrifies me.
So basically, one of the things that happens early on in this match is Sasha's on the ring apron and Charlotte kicks her leg out and she falls face first and hits the ring steps.
Beautifully done.
Looked amazing.
Beautifully
Absolutely
sold.
amazing. Looked
Little
like she
did we
was
know.
dead. Oh yeah.
Little did we know that about 20 plus minutes later, that happened for real.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So basically, we get to our first fall. Sasha goes for her flying body press. She misses. Charlotte basically hits a diamond dust, gets the hits natural selection, kicks out. Charlotte goes up top for the moonsault, and Sasha climbs up going for the superplex. It gets blocked, and Charlotte hits the diamond dust and gets the first fall. So, out of nowhere, the second fall pretty much goes down like right afterwards.
Also, WWE's big announcement.
Okay, now.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
Satellite, she rolls through and gets
It
the 3
was-
count. So,
Yeah. Beautifully built.
I like that. Charlotte gets heat on Sasha for a bit, goes for the moonsault. Sasha, get out of the way, locks in the bank statement. Charlotte grabs for the rope. She can't grab it. Sasha rolls her back, locks it on in the middle of the ring, and tap out. So 2-1. So Charlotte goes to work on the leg. Sasha fights out of the figure 8. She locks on the figure 4. Sasha with a reversal. Charlotte reverses back. And she looks up at the clock. She reaches for the ropes. Charlotte locks on the figure 8. And 2 seconds until time is about to expire, Sasha taps out. So we are at the end of the actual match itself, and now it's going to go to sudden death. Ashley, in his wisdom, based on what has happened in the past, thought this might be where we saw Stephanie come out, since she's the one who's ingrained herself in the division, and announced that this match has to continue. Nope, just made an announcement by the ring announcer. That was it.
Just the referee said, it's got to go to OT. And
Okay.
I'm like, fuck you, bitch. Yeah.
So Charlotte works the leg.
We know why there shouldn't be authority figures in female wrestling. It's called Maria, and look at the shit that's drizzled out of TNA since then. Hell, Wet Dixie will be in court as well, you know. I'm in charge of the division. No. Nobody should be in charge.
So Charlotte's got the leg. Sasha rolls it into an O'Connor roll style pinning predicament. And when the kick out happens, it's so powerful. Charlotte's boot catches the nose of Sasha just perfectly enough to just break her nose. And then the fallaway slam happens, and that's where you start to realize that Sasha's now bleeding buckets. It looked bad, and the announcers immediately did not acknowledge it.
The irony is about 10 minutes before, after the bump on the stairs, there was a shot of her being pinned, and I was like, oh my God, she's bleeding from the eye. Little did I know it the pink hair covered over her face.
Right.
Also, little did I know it was actually going to fucking for real happen by the end of the match.
So her nose is busted. It's now it's dripping like profusely into her mouth and everything. It just looks absolutely like a horror show. She goes for it the second time. Sasha counters into a small package, gets an ear fall off of it, hits the backstabber, and then locks on the bank statement. So Charlotte grabs the leg to try to break up the hold and finally does, turning it into a figure four of her own. Charlotte immediately goes for the bridge to lock on the figure eight, and she finally gets it, and Sasha taps. Charlotte is now a four-time women's champion, and the division has been around for 9 months. I noticed they were Dunn was focusing on people with Sasha Banks merchandise on.
I noticed that after the match.
Yeah.
One of the women that's refreshed the division has just got a shirt on for the past 6 months. Yeah. Oh, she's injury prone. Get the fucking belt off her. Now let's give her back the title. She's shown she isn't injury prone. Oh, I have no confidence in her. Let's give it back to Charlotte at the cell. Oh, wait. Sasha fucked up on the table spots. Even more reason. And now, the end of the feud. Hold on. Sasha legitimately has a fucking right to a rematch clause. Why is there double fucking standards?
Hold on. Raw Talk, which obviously I'm not watching because we're live right now, but Raw Talk mentioned something rather interesting.
Script when she can't do anything.
Raw Talk mentioned, Ashley, that Sasha's not getting a rematch.
I don't fucking care. I do not care. Fucking wise.
And it's really interesting that also on Raw Talk, Sasha was put over by Charlotte on the show saying every Flair needs a boss.
Yeah, she tweeted that.
I don't care. I think every Flair needs a bloody break. Just because your name's Flair doesn't deserve to be fucking whipped and shackled. No. She's been in the division now, whether it be for nearly 8, if not 18 months since she NXT. Not even Cena is in that situation. Even Roman is in that situation. And Rollins, not even. Nobody has been in the same in their division, arguably apart from New Day. because there were ulterior motives. Plus, of course, with New Day, you've got 3 people that you can switch in and out.
Right.
So not everybody works every night. Every show Charlotte's gone to, logically, she's had to wrestle.
And you're
One
going to be
day where through her training and her exercises, she will get injured and she will be out for 9 to 10 months. Because we know how often the others get fucking injured, and that's how long it takes. Or your ACLs, your rotator cuffs, all that shit. As soon
Speaking
as
of
that happens, her career is over. Because the amount of new blood that they are bringing in to bolster up the women's division, be it in NXT or in WWE, means none of these girls are going to get a fucking chance. They're just going to get thrown away. They won't be part of the Divas Revolution or the Women's Revolution. They'll just be forgotten. Because WWE took a fine commodity in the 4 horsewomen in NXT and fucked it all up.
Emma's already starting
Ever
with the
since
4
they
horsewomen.
came in.
Did you see that, Ashley?
Hmm?
Emma's already starting after them, saying, in this business, we don't always get what we deserve. If we did, I would have been champion long before any of the 4 horsewomen.
And that's how the storyline would have been perfect.
Exactly.
Have the 3 of the 4 horsewomen, recreate last year's WrestleMania, just rejigging out Becky for Bayley, and it'd work well. And in the interim, it could be Sasha, versus Emelina or Nia Jax.
It may have to
something
be
to
at
act
this
as
point.
filler before. But no point in any of that happening. And this means that now the upcoming Bayley and Charlotte feud is going to be fucking boring. Because I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is the title is going to change hands on a Raw. Charlotte over at the Rumble or Fastlane, and then Charlotte loses the title at WrestleMania because they think it will mean something then.
It would
Because
have.
of the mismanagement, it won't. The mismanagement means nobody will give a damn. It says a lot now that the best women's champion at the minute is Alexa Bliss.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the best challenger is Becky Lynch. I never thought I'd say, but the women's division has just gone very sort of weak. If you talk in terms of like title defenses on, I think this title has actually flip-flopped. There might have been one title defense here and there between the 2 of them. But other than that, it's just been you win the title, I win it back, I win it back, you win it back. So,
That's right.
and that's annoying. Because we need to make women's wrestling great again. And if we keep flip-flopping the title, making people's contributions basically be all but transitional champions, which it isn't even that. It's more like we've got to find some way for Charlotte to not. Because when I've seen Sasha do like the interviews and whatever, when she's been champ on stuff, she's so much a better person to interview than Charlotte is. She seems much more genuine. She doesn't seem to be under that much pressure because obviously, if you get the wrong type of media, they'll make and his exploit. She wants to be in her own light. Before, she ain't gonna do if every time she comes out now, it's gonna say Charlotte Flair. No, she wants to be her own woman. She could have been if she was Charlotte, because that Flair name is there week in and week out. She's going to be suffocated by it.
Right.
Whether they announce it live or not, that graphic says it. And that technically is what could be in the record books as to wins and losses. Ugh.
So we've got Pedro in chat again. Welcome back, Pedro. I'm glad Alexa Bliss is the new women's champion. I think two of the best women in the WWE today, Becky and Alexa, deserved it. Ever since their days in NXT, they've really shown who they are. Sasha and Charlotte's rivalry to me seems overdone. Title was you have it, then I'll have it after. The rivalry was great, and it ended up being just an ongoing rivalry, like with Owens and Zayn. Great rivalry till the story starts to die and people begin to get turned off the whole idea of seeing it at Mania and such. Owens and Zayn, there's still money behind. Sasha and Charlotte is over. But my way of thinking right now, honestly, is this is building to Sasha going heel. I think Bayley takes the title off Sasha. Sasha, long day. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Bayley takes the title off Charlotte, and then Sasha is the one who attacks Bayley. And then we do Bayley against Sasha. There's nothing else built up at this point. Emma's can get involved, I guess. Nia Jax if they really want to.
Annoying. Bloody annoying.
Yeah. Miller, you have any thoughts on this match before we move on to the main event?
I think this should have been the main event. I thought it was like a better match than the one we're about to talk about. It actually kind of shocked me because I definitely thought Sasha Banks was going to walk away with the title, retaining it. I thought she was going to hold when I thought she was going to hold for the last 2 seconds before they went to overtime when what was it? Charlotte had her in was it a figure eight?
Mm.
Did she have it locked in?
Yeah, she was basically like the last 25 seconds. She was looking at the clock to make sure that
because the way they were booking it, it was the end of the feud. There is no rematches.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So logically, it would be like, so let Charlotte, let Charlotte give Sasha the rub, so she can now prove herself why she belongs in this. But no, she's a transitional champ to the former champ again.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the result of the match really shocked me. Well, I guess up until like overtime. When overtime happened, I mean, Charlotte already did enough like damage on Sasha's leg, and I just kind of had this feeling that once she got locked into a figure eight in the middle of the ring, it was over. So yeah, it was a really good match though. So
yeah. Also, like we were talking about earlier, the law of averages that Sasha can't retain whenever the pay-per-view is happening. She can win on television, but she can't do anything on pay-per-view for some reason.
That's weird.
I really hope they build her back up after she turns heel. I think that it's going to help rejuvenate her career a little bit. But obviously, there's a deal going on with Emma, which they've started. So it's at least on Twitter, which is going to make it to television. So then we get our main event. Kevin Owens defending the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. There are reports from the live crowd saying that Roman got booed out of the building, even more so than it came off on television. They turned up the music and they turned down the sound, so Kevin done messing with the sound again. Apparently, Roman was mouthing off the crowd that were booing him.
You could kind of see that when he was walking in and out because he was like talking. You could see him like saying stuff. I wasn't sure if he was saying stuff about the crowd or if he was just mentally preparing for the match. I don't know, but it's.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm bullshit.
One of my favorite things is when Owens locked on his obligatory chin lock midway through the match. He yells, "If you're so tough," yeah, there's the chin lock horn for the time being. "If you're so tough, then why didn't you put your title on the line? You have no guts. You have no balls."
I remember that. That was a pretty good line.
Owens is amazing.
Where was I saw this on Twitter somewhere saying fucking Roman was corpsing in the middle of like a headlock or some sort of headlock sort of submission style thing.
It was the chin lock.
Yeah. You know, Roman was openly smiling and laughing.
Yeah, same for the man. Matthew, get on that. I'm sure you will. Wasn't the U.S. title supposed to be on the line, or was it scrapped? The U.S. title was never on the line. It was just going to be for the Universal title. And it's funny because the house shows, they've been doing the U.S. title on the line and putting Roman over. Good stuff in this match. No surprise to anyone. Crowd just didn't care about Roman whatsoever. They did a row, men sucks chant like the New Day. Roman was going for the Samoan drop. Owens hit him with a release German. So he ends up eating a boot from a charge. Roman hits the Samoan for a near fall. Goes for the Superman punch. Owens counters into a DDT for a near fall. So for some reason, Owens gets the upper hand. He goes for the cannonball after mocking Roman. Roman completely no-sells the cannonball and hits the Superman punch. Okay. Puts Owens on the buckle, climbs up, going for the superplex. Owens with two elbows off. Roman leaps up with the Superman, knocks Owens loopy. He doesn't really knock him off. He basically still stuck up there. Goes to superplex again, gets blocked. Owens hits the cradle suplex off the top, gets a near fall off of that. Owens heads up for the swanton, and Roman gets the knees up. So Owens powders. Roman hits him with a drive-by, tosses him in. Owens rolls back out to break up momentum. Crowd's loving this. Goes for the drive-by again. Owens with a super kick, hits another super kick, and Owens goes up on the barricade thanks to an assist from the chair, and he frog splash Roman on the announce table, and then does it again because the table doesn't break. Interestingly enough, when Roman would kick out, the crowd would boo. No surprise there. So we get more crowd shots. I believe there was one crowd shot that looked like something crazy was happening, and the girl was trying to stifle laughter. Roman beats the count at 9. Shock surprise. So Roman gets caught with a frog splash. Again, happy birthday, Rob Van Dam. 1-2 and a kick out. Toss to the ropes. He hangs on. He charges in. Eats a high elbow. Owens goes to the super kick. Roman catches him. Hits a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. So Roman goes for the spear. Charges in. Owens kicks him right in the chest and rolls him up 1-2 and a kick out. Roman charges again. Pop-up powerbomb. 1, 2, and at 3, Roman puts his foot on the bottom rope. Gets booed, of course. Shock, surprise. So Owens decides to go into panic mode. He goes to the ringside area. He grabs the Universal Championship, and he gets ready to deck Roman. But that does not happen. He ends up getting caught with the spear. Title falls down, of course. So with this is down, they're both down. Roman can't cover, can't capitalize, can't cover, can't do anything. Owens is still down from the spear. So at this point, Chris Jericho hits the ring. He looks at everybody. He looks at Roman on the canvas. He looks at Kevin Owens. He nails him with a code breaker. And immediately the ref calls for the bell. So Owens wins by DQ. And after this is done, Jericho looks at Owens, smiles, and hands him the title. To the shock of not me, it was all a big ruse all along. So they embrace, they hold each other, they raise each other's hands, and they go to leave the ring. Rollins' music hits, he comes out, Owens is distracted, he gets speared by Roman on the outside. And this is when interesting things happen. So Jericho gets in the ring, Seth boots him, hits him with a pedigree. There's this one guy that's loudly yelling out, "The Shield is back." So they clear the announce table at ringside, hit the Cerberus bomb on Jericho. Owens is just trying to escape, and of course he gets mugged by the Shield. They clear off the announce table that's on the top of the ramp where the announce team have been all night, and they Cerberus bomb him through that table. And then to add insult to injury, when the table falls, Owens falls off the table, off the set, onto the ground. Roman's music plays with the crowd with a very mixed reaction, and that's how we go home. Roman and Owens can put together good matches. They have decent chemistry in the ring. Crowd just didn't care about Roman at all. It's Pittsburgh. Like I said, it's a heel town, so it makes sense. When Roman came out, he got booed. When Owens came out, he was cheered like he was Hulk Hogan in the 80s. It was a good back and forth. Owens with the obligatory mid-match chin lock, which I enjoyed very much. The trash talk I enjoyed. I'm very glad they didn't decide to flip the title tonight. I didn't think they would, but I was getting worried because the betting odds were shifting to Roman, and at the very last minute they went back to Owens. I was like, oh, thank God. So that's a good thing.
I did love the fact that the end was clear. Well, we did a false finish, but the fans will be happy when the Shield are back together. And they did their stuff, the bit through the table. And what happened when Roman's music played at the end and the Shield had decimated, all three, well, two of the three, I guess, announced they were not elsewhere in the match.
Right. Exactly. Here's the issue, though. They are using the Shield as a catalyst to get the crowd to cheer for Roman. They want Roman over more than anything in the world. They will do anything to get Roman Reigns over. And it's not working. It is not working.
Guess what will happen tomorrow when Roman comes out?
Yeah, exactly. See, here's what I think should happen.
Guess what will happen on Raw on the 26th?
You suck.
Just one person.
see, Ashley, here's where what they need to do is, number one, they need to get the U.S. title off Roman because they're not doing anything with that belt. That belt's dead in the water now. All the things that John Cena did with that title, it's all null and void now. So get the title off Roman for starters. Number two, you need to bring back the Shield music and let them come to the crowd. You might as well go all out with it. And I'll tell you what, your main event for Raw tomorrow night, Roman and Seth versus Owens and Jericho double tables match. I think it makes sense. I think Owens and Jericho against the Shield in a tables match needs to be the main event for Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's nothing else that makes any sense tomorrow or tonight. Tonight in this case. But I guess we'll see. I like this. I like the way they did this. There's still some mileage in Owens and Jericho as a cohesive unit. I think it's going to start unraveling, and of course, it's going to lead to what's going to happen to their match at the Rumble. Maybe Jericho gets in some sort of a multi-man match in order to get a shot at the Universal Championship, and he wins, and that's how he has to face Owens at Rumble. I think that could be a possibility. I guess it just depends. Owens at ringside when the Shield and Jericho face off like next week on Raw, like right after Christmas. And the winner of the match gets a shot at the title, and of course Jericho wins, and then Jericho and Owens again at the Rumble. And then of course the go-home show to the Rumble is when Jericho is the code breaker on Owens, leaves him laying and says, "This is only business. I'll see you on Sunday." So, I mean, Rollins has got a title shot in the future too. Obviously, I think it makes sense. Maybe Rollins and Owens in a singles match potentially, but I think the money is to be made with Raw ending with Shield versus Jericho and Owens, the main event in a tables match tonight. I think that they set it up perfectly, to be honest. Oh, wouldn't it be awesome if the final third person that was coming in to help Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens was Chris Hero? That's armchair booking, sir.
No. I'd say because of the.
I think seeing Hero go after being the one to make the save when Sheamus turns on Cesaro is the right answer. I want the Kings of Wrestling back together again, but that's another story for a different time. We'll talk about that on another show. I will get out of my chair now. The booking time is over. But still, I mean, we've got Raw tonight to see what we're gonna do with that, and then of course we start to build to the Rumble, and then after the Rumble, I mean, we're headed to WrestleMania, so I'm just curious to see where we're going to go from here. Obviously, this is going to implode between Owens and Jericho eventually, but we still got another show out of it. So maybe after Christmas. Maybe it happens the night after Christmas. I think that actually might make some sense. But that's where Jericho gets his title shot. He officially gets announced as the contender at the Rumble. He fights through Rollins and Reigns and just Rollins and Reigns in order to get the shot. This makes sense. Miller, any thoughts on the main event? Oh no.
I mean, it was a good match, but
yeah, of course it's a good match.
And then the ending just felt a bit too obvious.
Right.
The best thing that could have happened was did what he did and then smiled, and hugged Kevin and raised, then kicked him in the balls and then gave him a code breaker and lift the title above his head. That would have made so much sense. Because it was basically, Roman lost out thanks to Chris, but we've established that Chris is, if that's the case, no objection to the Rumble being a 4-way for the title. between Roman, Seth, Chris, and Kevin because it makes sense. Now I have no clue what they're doing.
No, I don't either.
I don't think we need to see Owens versus Rollins again. And just to try and get Roman over when it wasn't going to.
Nothing was going to get Roman over. It was Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just no. Just no.
At least it doesn't open up predictability for where we go from here because there's so many different directions you can go now. Miller, are you still around? That would be a no. The podcasts are so long. Actually, I think that might be our show.
Indeed.
It was all right. It wasn't a great show. It wasn't a terrible show. It was just kind of in the middle. It felt like a Raw. It felt like an extended Raw with a 30-minute Iron Woman match as like the highlight. A lot of different directions to go from here. I'm just curious to see exactly what happens on Raw tonight. Like, there's a lot of different things that possibly could come up. Real quick, like always, we want to thank Scott for being on. He was here for the first hour of the show. Check out his channel. It's on YouTube as well. It's also available on Spreaker for his podcast, which should be coming back soon. Follow him on Twitter at Great Travelin' Scott, which is GR8 Trav, TRAVLN Scott. So yeah, that's Scott's Twitter account. And also, I want to thank Miller for joining us. It was great to have another member of the Elite joining us for not a Horror Nights podcast for a change. So yeah. Follow Miller on Twitter at MillerMCGHIN. That's MillerMCGHIN. That's on Twitter. And you'll hear more from him possibly tonight when we do our Raw Popcast, which is going to have the usual cast of characters. Who knows if anybody's going to be joining us? Guess we'll find out. I want to thank everyone that was in live chat tonight. Thank you, Pinhead Larry. Thank you, Timbo. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you for joining us tonight in live chat. We appreciate that, as always, every single week here on the Popcast Network. And Ashley.
You can find me on Twitter. Ash is my name, UK. Game with Ash will hopefully be up tomorrow. Not promising anything though, because it's going to be a busy day or so. But there will be some sort of content up this week because it will probably be probably the last one of the year. I don't know whether I'll be too stuffed or whether I'll just be doing a Twitch stream instead. In which case, I'll just have to film a video saying go to Twitch.
Fair point.
Watch my Game with Ash contribution there or whatever. Even if it is archived, I'll have to give Owen the archive link, which you probably can't link because it's on Twitch. So we'll just have to the bloody address in via some weird. And yeah, it was, good show from us tonight. Average to okay from WWE. This is becoming a worrying trend. The best product that they're putting out. Bloody television.
Of course. Miller, are you've woken up, I'm seeing?
Yep.
Do you have any last thoughts?
Day.
Oh, no worries, man. Do you have any last thoughts on Roadblock before we end?
It was a pretty good pay-per-view. I don't know if I liked it more than SmackDown's TLC, but that was another pay-per-view. I'd probably give it a solid like Scott did, maybe like a 3 or a 3.5. Like there were some good matches. There were a few things they could have done differently, but I mean it was an overall solid pay-per-view with some pretty good matches.
All right. And we want to thank you for joining us for Wrestling Popcast. Hopefully you'll be joining us every once in a while.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem, as always, man. Where can we find you on social media?
Just follow me at Miller McGinn on Twitter at MillerMcGhin.
All right. Follow the Popcast Network on Twitter at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page. We're almost at 200 likes. It's crazy. It's really awesome. Thank you guys and girls out there that have liked our Facebook fan page. We truly appreciate it. Our merchandise available at Zazzle. Check out all our Popcast Network shirts. We have some new stuff after the first of the year, so check that out. It's at Popcast Network. And also, like I said, Twitter at Popcast Network. My Twitter is at Suro and Disney. We have a Patreon at Popcast Network. Check that out if you're so inclined. And once again, we want to thank you guys and girls out there for everything, for watching the channel, for following along with the network. We really appreciate it. We got a lot of cool stuff coming this year, so stick around. And if you're a movie fan, it's going to get even more fun because we've got later this week, we have more game. Like Ashley said, we have a Gaming with Ash segment, which is coming up. We got a new Sip and Snack coming this coming week. AJ's movie reviews. There's so much stuff we're going to be talking about. There's Passengers. There's Assassin's Creed. Sting is a question mark right now. Why him is a possibility. That's going to be on there. Really good chance for La La Land and Fences. So fingers crossed we get those as well. So if not, we'll see what happens. Manchester by the Sea and Lion will be out in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing our final Academy Awards predictions in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. A lot of good stuff coming for the Popcast Network, so stick around. A lot of really cool things. So once again, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you have chosen a Popcast. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. See you guys tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m. or as early as we possibly can start for Monday Night Raw. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
What a fuck.